Well, today I'm taking a look at the all-new Alfa Romeo Giulia, which is a very exciting new entrant into the bloodbath that is the small luxury sports sedan segment here in North America. Now, the last time Alfa was here, things didn't really go that well, but that was a long time ago. A lot has changed since then, and Alfa Romeo has been producing some of the most exciting cars in the industry today. They've got the 4C Roadster, a really exciting looking car. They've got, of course, the Giulia and the brand new Stelvio, a really dramatic looking SUV that I'll be picking up and driving next week. This car, I think, just looks the business. I've had a ton of compliments, but as we know, it's going to take a whole heck of a lot more than some sexy sheet metal to knock off those Germans and their rivals from America and Japan. So today, let's go for a drive. We'll see just how close they've gotten to their mainstream rivals. The interior of this Alfa Romeo Giulia is just a little bit different than what you're used to seeing, and judging by the reaction of a few of my passengers this week, it's a little bit polarizing. Now, I like it. I love this flowing dashboard design that leads into a really substantial, chunky center stack transmission tunnel area, and I love the look of this kind of floating HVAC control system here, which just looks really attractive to me. Right below that, we have what seems like a simple piece of plastic. It's a cover over top of the cup holders, but it just feels really nice and kind of has a nice sound to it, and just makes you feel like you're in an expensive car, which is always what you're looking for when you're dropping $60,000+. Steering wheel, really nice design, looks wonderful, feels great in your hands. A little monochromatic, I must say, especially with the Alfa Romeo logo being gray and black in the center of the steering wheel, but it looks great. And the real crowd pleaser are these gigantic fixed aluminum shift paddles, which are column mounted, not steering wheel mounted. I'm a big fan of these aggressive and very stylish bucket seats. Now, they're an option that comes built into a sport package. I highly recommend them if you're looking for a more engaging drive. They've done a great job holding me in over the past week or so. And for my frame, a little bit on the taller side and thinner side, they're very, very supportive. And better yet, not part of the seat, but a really important part of your driving experience if you're long-legged. There's a nice piece of padding down here in the transmission tunnel. Great seating position in general, great touch points for the driver. That is definitely a strong point of this Giulia. Well, I'm in an interesting position to review this Giulia because I happen to drive two of the traditional pillars of this segment. So I have a BMW 3 Series and a Mercedes-Benz C-Class, and I've been able to take a close look over the years at two manufacturers going about a similar car in very different ways. So Mercedes-Benz, always luxury focused, very refined vehicle. BMW, on the other hand, always performance-oriented, but the truth of the matter is they both come towards the middle in the last number of years. They're trying to appeal to the widest possible audience. And for those who consider themselves BMW and driving enthusiasts, well, you bemoan the lack of steering feel and driver engagement. You think the 3 Series is way too big now, and that there's just nothing out there on the market for you. Here's something I have to say to those people. Get yourself behind the wheel of an Alfa Romeo Giulia, because this really picks up where the 3 Series left off. It is lighter, it's performance oriented, it's extremely engaging around corners. You take one look at this thing, it's sexy, and then you get on the inside and run it through its paces, and I'm starting to get this Italian car thing. So today we're going to talk about all that, and let's start with the engine. Powering this Giulia is a very motivated 2-liter 4-cylinder with a turbocharger on top, of course. Seems to be the default engine option these days for most vehicles. 280 horsepower, 306 foot-pounds of torque. So for those out there who are keeping track, it's about 40 more horsepower and torques than you're going to find in the likes of the Mercedes C300 4MATIC or the 328 from BMW, and just about the same from Audi A4 as well. So lots of power. Now, when you take into account that this vehicle weighs just about 3,400 pounds in its current trim, that's also a couple hundred pounds lighter than those competitors that I just mentioned. So 0 to 100, a very brisk 5.1 seconds. That's haul in the mail, especially for a vehicle like this with a 4-cylinder engine. You want to compare that to the 328i sedan in X-Drive trim, that's 5.7 seconds. So maybe not a big difference, but still feels pretty quick. Lots of mid-range punch, a big flat juicy torque curve down low that you can come into and really not a whole lot of turbo lag. Manufacturers these days are doing such a good job in eliminating that. So as long as you've got about 2,500 or 3,000 revs on the clock here, you're good to go, and there's power right up until the red line. On that note, something slightly disappointing with this power unit is the exhaust, and that, well, you can't really hear it at all. So definitely quiet on the highway and very civilized around town, but for a car with 280 horsepower and over 300 foot-pounds of torque, that's going to sprint to 100 in just about 5 seconds. I'd like a little growl, a little reminder that you're dealing with a car that's got some power. Well, other than a very strong visual statement, I don't think there's a whole lot fundamentally about this Giulia that's any different or any better necessarily than the rest of the segment until you get it into the corners. And that's where this thing absolutely comes alive. This is the defining quality of the Giulia, is the way this thing feels when you hustle it around corners. And I'm just going to come out and say it right now. From where I'm sitting, you're looking at the brand new category leader. This is where BMW used to be. This is what Mercedes wants to be. And this is what Audi dreams of being. With the security of optional all-wheel drive and with perfect 50-50 weight distribution, this vehicle just feels up on its haunches, ready to go, with excellent turn-in, that razor-sharp steering. And when I say razor, I really truly mean it. Now, that has its disadvantages, a lot of micro corrections needed on the highway, and God forbid you get out there on a breezy day. But when you're on a back road or you're just around town, you find a couple of twisty corners, it is just absolute money. The transmission, while not being perfect, works well, especially if you want to bang gears. And the brakes, they will pull you down in a hurry. Initially, a little bit of a spongy feel that I'm not a fan of, but you get used to that. And at the end of the day, when you got to get on them and slow this thing down, you can do that. So the Giulia is a vehicle that takes advantage of that extra power over its competitors. It takes advantage of that diet it's gone on. It's just a little bit lighter than everybody else out there. And altogether, this package comes together in a way that rewards the driver. The Giulia TI's blend of engaging driving dynamics and great power plant make it the enthusiast choice in the small executive sports sedan segment. However, I do have some concerns I want to address. The elephant in the room is reliability. This point is hardly original. In fact, you're going to find volumes of information out there on the internet, especially with respect to buggy electronics. Sure enough, I had some suspicious plastic trim pieces on my Giulia, and then there's the infotainment system, which at first wouldn't work at all, and then once functional, was really relegated to more of an ornament because it was just so bad. Am I being hard on it? Well, probably, but these systems are getting so good these days, so powerful, so intuitive and easy to use, and my tolerance for dealing with a laggy, buggy system is very low. Second, the side mirrors, they have a tendency to freeze over in cold weather. That affects me 4 to 6 months of the year, and it's a pain in the butt. Splitting hairs here, but the turn indicators are possibly the loudest indicators I have heard in a modern vehicle. Again, I admit these are small problems, but they are issues of quality and refinement, and I think Alfa does have a little bit of work to do in this department. The base price of this Giulia starts at $48,240. That's in rear-wheel drive configuration. All-wheel drive is available throughout the range as an option for $2,000. $2,000 well spent, in my opinion. Now this TI, most people are going to upgrade into this model. It's an additional $2,000 as well. That includes some nice to have features like 18-inch wheels and a bigger navigation screen, as well as some better trim options on the inside. This being a fully spec demonstration model includes some fancy blue paint, which is beautiful if you can keep it clean, and a sport pack for $2,500. I'd be checking that box faster than you can say sport pack, because it includes these wonderful 19-inch wheels, these sport seats on the inside that I've been raving about, and the fixed aluminum shift paddles behind the steering wheel. Now it also includes a $1,500 safety tech package, nice to have features there for peace of mind, and it brings the total of this Giulia, including some destination charges, to just under $64,000 Canadian. So is it worth it? Well, to answer that question, you've got to ask yourself what you value in a driving experience. If you're somebody who puts driving dynamics and fun factor above all else, then this is the new category leader. Get yourself into a Giulia quickly. But anyway you slice it, an exciting vehicle from Alfa, a breath of fresh air. I'm bummed to be giving this car back, but it comes with the territory. For Motormouth Canada, my name is Mike Gurr. Thanks for watching.